All done.
Yeah, yeah. Supposedly it's
Cue the noise.
Yeah.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay.
The scenes that you were in were so intense, especially the one with Tom, because you didn't know what.
You mean with Trent?
No, which scene were you in?
I was in 7.
Yeah.
Maybe you're thinking of something
Piano
else.
player.
The piano player.
Oh, okay.
The one where I feel like everyone's gonna die later.
Cheyenne, and then I was with Billy Campbell. And
Oh,
then
okay.
Noah.
I got the scenes mixed up.
Okay.
But that thing was intense. You looking at his cell phone.
Oh
and
yeah. I know. It's a little crazy.
Have you seen any situation like that in real life where you could draw on that? Because I asked the other actors the same thing.
Well, I think that every girl has at one point gone through some dude's email or phone or journal or something. It's terrible to admit, but it's, I think, very real. So yes, would be the answer to that. Absolutely.
That was my question, but now I gotta think of something else.
Well, you know what he whispered in the guy's ear?
No, I mean, that's the genius of Neil Abute. Like, we'll never know.
Yeah.
And Cheyenne got to make it up every time. You know?
Because I kept asking myself, why would he pester this man after he nicely said, no, we don't want to tour? And then he just kept, and Neil's writing.
Yeah, he's pretty
I
genius.
love those insults.
Yeah.
And you know the one that hurt the most? For the musicians, he said, well, something to the effect of, well, go back and do your own self-promoted, your own self-produced
album,
like,
right?
you're not
I
with a
know,
label.
it's so terrible. I know, he's eviscerating, definitely.
Did you find it would be some pretty rough dialogue for you? I mean,
Yeah, it's so
you're
dense.
used to pretty intense dialogue.
Yeah, but it was this one. You know, I was so used to Addison and the rhythms of Shonda and Shondaland. So then to come out of that and have the genius, but the density of Neil's language with all the ellipses and punctuations and the repetition of fine, okay, thanks,
It's almost metered out too.
And it's really, it was a huge challenge, particularly in the short time period that we had to kind of prepare and go for it. So, but it was really a wonderful experience. Yeah.
You guys had extensive dialogue in this stuff.
Yeah.
Was that almost like doing theater for you?
Yes. It was, except without all that rehearsal time. That's the bummer of it, is it's so good that you're like, oh, I want to have, it's like doing a little play, but without the rehearsal. You want to have weeks of rehearsal to like find every nuance and kind of explore every nook and cranny, but we didn't. So it was like a neat and interesting experiment, you know, and we hope we hit all it's like a great dense piece of music, and you hope you hit all of the chords and notes, and, you know, and to continue that crappy metaphor, but we had a great conductors, you know, David Petrarca and Daisy and Mimi Leader. They're amazing directors, and the whole crew. You get to know everybody really fast, and sort of you have to trust everyone, and Billy was so wonderful to work with, and so we were, it was fun.
One of the things I noticed in your episode is that dinner seems very awkward, and you seem passive in some ways and then really aggressive. What about the first dinner you have with your husband sort of translates into your dinner with Robbie, your student? And what part do you see connects those two people?
That's a great question. I think that, you know, the power dynamic, and that was one of the things that really interested me, was that exactly what you said, the passive aggressive nature of Trish, and how she's kind of a little almost bullied by her husband, you know, a little, like, and then to see how she is with her student is completely different, just like we all play different roles at work or at home, and who is this woman at home, and who is she on her anniversary dinner, even from the beginning to the middle to the end, how does she change within that night, and then how is she with her student, because when she's, you know, it's her student, she's going to be professional, she's going to be, or I think at least, and this is the great thing about Neil as well with all of these, is that he plays with the power dynamics in every scene, and you think, oh, this person is the boss of the scene in a way, and then you're like, oh no, it's not. So you see it shift a lot too in the subsequent episodes. I mean, in a major way in episode 10, but in 8 with me and my student, with Robbie, it's you think, oh, she's the teacher and they're on this land, and then it completely shifts around when he starts getting into his stuff. It's really cool in a great way.
So you had one of the rare episodes that had more than 2 people in it.
Yeah.
Was that weird to prep for when you have? Because you said you didn't have much prep time.
Yeah.
To get to it, and you had to deal with not only building a relationship with Billy,
Yeah.
but then you throw Cheyenne into the mix, which none of the other, or not very many of the other episodes have.
Right. Well, he's so good, Cheyenne. I mean, he's so gorgeous and like awesome, and you just can't help but fall into him a little bit. And it was really great to have that third point of focus, and both my scenes. And I think that, you're right. The other episodes, they're mostly peripheral, but to have him as another base was great. And I think particularly for Trish, he's just sort of is like this fly in the ointment, and this like reminder over here that maybe all is not well, maybe all is not as it seems,
What was the timing like? Because the piano player is so far away from you guys.
Yeah.
But the dialogue didn't miss a beat, so.
Yeah, well, I think originally I thought we were going to be closer to the piano to make it a little, but in the end, I really liked the distance and
And then he had his back to you on top of it.
Yeah, I mean he didn't have his back. He was sort of in profile, but I had a good view of him. So
I love the Lay Lady.
Yeah.
That had to have been just.
Isn't that great?
It was so great.
I know,
And it's such
deep voice.
and it's such a dig at the same time.
Oh
It's
my
just-
God,
it's such a
I know.
dig.
Secret dig.
Yeah.
No, it's just terrible.
You're like, are you trying to steal his wife? Or are you
it's
just
just
doing?
really.
Just screw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah.
Was there any room at all for ad lib? In other words, it was always.
You know what?
Offered, or was it not even an option?
Here's the thing: is like it's so you really want to be verbatim with him because he's so dense and he has such a specific meter and punctuation that was the only part that was lamentable. Is we just didn't. Because of the nature, we tried to be as verbatim as we could, but because it was such a short rehearsal period and such a dense shooting schedule, I mean, we had 2 days for episode 7, but the other, it was 1 for 8, and then 2 for 10. But you were just like, really
So
trying
you
to just
shot the
stick.
episode one day?
No, that was 2 days.
Oh, that was 2 days. Okay.
But the subsequent episode, the one I did with Robbie, with Noah, that was 1 day. That was the first one I did. And I was like, OMG. It's like being thrown into a shark tank. I was like, what are we doing here? I don't even know. But you have to trust the director and your scene partner implicitly. So it was pretty cool.
So what's it like, with Neil versus Chandra?
Totally different. 2 great writers, completely different. And I've always been a fan of Neil. I've loved his work since In the Company of Men, and I've been dying to work with him. And now I got my chance. Hopefully I'll be able to do one of his plays too. But he's so I just love. He's just a wordsmith. I mean, he's incredible, and he has
Have you
such
done
a
much theater?
style. Yeah. So I came up doing
Is that,
theater.
you came up through theater?
Yeah.
Well, when you read a script and you love it, I mean, the words just jump off the page and resonate. Does that help you get into the role versus reading the script and like, what's this guy talking about? And now you got to go to set, trying to figure out how you're going to approach it. I mean,
Well, I try not to do roles if I feel like that. I try not to take them. I mean, I can't, because for me, it always starts with writing. If it's not well written, I can't. I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? I mean, you can act and you can compensate and sort of work your ways around and sort of throw away dialogue that's really not good or something. But it all starts with the writing, character and story. And sometimes if the character's a little lesser, but the story is amazing and I want to just be a part of that big thing, or if the character, in this case, I got both. I got a great character and a great story. And that's what that's what you wish for in everything, and it speaks to you and it makes my job easier. Or it's like he's such a great writer though, I could do it forever and ever and just keep finding things. I mean, it's so dense, which I love.
So what else are you working on right now?
Oh, I was gonna say- No, it's fine. Do that one first.
I did this, and then I did 3 movies. So I did this psychological thriller called Dermaphoria. I did Courtney Cox just directed this really funny dark comedy called Just Before I Go with Sean William Scott and me and Garrett Dillahunt.
Nice.
It was awesome. And then I just finished this comedy called Staten Island Summer that Colin Jost wrote. He's an SNL writer that Lorne Michaels produced. So it was just me and Jim Gaffigan played a husband and wife, and we had a really good time.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. Come on, it was great. What's meant to? I love that guy. He just cracks me up. So we had a really good time.
I was going to ask, what do you see the difference being on something like on the work you did with Shonda, where it's so established, and something like this, where it's sort of event television? And do you think the industry should be doing more things like Full Circle, or do you need to establish more shows that you can keep on the air?
Well, it's such a great question. First of all, Shonda was so established, and I mean, she wasn't in the beginning until Grey's, and so I got on that, and you're like, yay, but I thought, this is great writing, a great show, and then it became a hit, yay. But there's a certain safety in that, for sure. And then this is far riskier. Like, the material is great, but you never know how something's going to turn out, how it's going to be edited, how it's going to be shot, how it's going to it's that weird sort of mercurial, like, little weird alchemy that has to sort of all come together and make a great show, whether it's event or a series. So I was like, I hope this works, but I'm having a great time. It's an experiment, and it was really challenging and amazing for me as an actor. And in terms of event television versus series, I mean, I really love this. I love this pattern, this new thing of being able to binge on episodes or watch it. I wish all television was that way, because quite frankly, like, one of my favorite shows of all time is The Wire. I didn't get to watch that when it was on because I didn't have time, but when I went and shot a movie, I had my laptop and I can watch all 5 seasons, in a couple weeks, and I love that.
That's where I'm at right now. I'm on season 2.
Yeah,
I never watched it before.
it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And you can immerse yourself in it. And the same thing with House of Cards. I love that I could just go boom, 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 pull the curtains closed, get your popcorn, and go for it. It's something really, it's like a novel that way, or, a movie. So that's really satisfying. But I know that people love to watch, but I also I'd rather have less episodes of something as an audience member and have it come back and wait for it. Do you know, like...
So, like the British model with 13 episode seasons versus
for me,
22.
I also think it's healthier for actors, for writers. It's a more humane way to do stuff, and you get better quality. I think in the end, you get better quality. But I also know the ritual of making. I mean, the rituals are changing.
Yeah.
The ritual of making an appointment every Monday night or Thursday night is changing. So
what shows are you watching? As an actress, do you find it hard
Sorry, we're gonna have to wrap up.
watch a movie or something, knowing that you know all the technical stuff that goes on? I mean, I used to be a television engineer, and it took me about a year to stop critiquing stuff that I saw.
yeah, I'll wrap it
Because
up.
I can hear the audio.
I know, yeah, no, totally. I think that once you work in the industry, it's like it's a harder thing to make it, like to lose yourself in it completely, or aware of editing, or aware of continuity, or aware of, what is there, like an elephant
They're
back
like
here?
putting the screen up.
That. But, it was, it's like, but I still love going to the movies, and I still love watching. And right now I'm watching, what am I watching? I'm watching The White Queen. Amazing. Right?
Yes.
I'm like, stars, I want to work with you. I love it. I mean, of course, Downton Abbey I binged on. House of Cards, I can't wait for the second season of that. I just finished this season, whatever it was, 4 or 3 of The Killing, season 3.
I haven't watched it yet.
AMC.
I love that show.
No, it's
Season
really
1
good.
and 2, I binged. I think I watched the whole thing.
You're gonna love this season. It's
they're trying to
pretty
kick us
incredible.
out.
So yeah.
Yeah, I got one more question.
Yeah.
At this stage in your career, as with a lot of actors, do you find out that now your body of work gets you other work versus, because people know you now?
Yes and no. I think yes, but also people still have a short-term memory, so they remember you for what you did last. So I came up doing both comedy and drama, for instance, and people, since I played, a serious doctor on television, were like, oh, she can do comedy. It was still like a revelation for them. So you're kind of always as good as your last job in this town. How did your movie gross? How did your show do? How were the ratings? But it's like I didn't get into this for secure security. But that being said, I feel very lucky, and like I'm glad to be here and talking to you guys about it. Thank you for your time.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming.